Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerJoob, and welcome to a brand new chapter in our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series. So in today's video, the character we're looking into is Corey the Camel. So we'll go into this character's location, gameplay mechanics, backstory, and all that good stuff as well. Also, if you missed or didn't watch all of the last chapter, I'll leave the recap video up here so you can watch that. As always, I will just state that everything I say in these videos isn't necessarily linked to the overall universe and lore of Fnaf. This is just a fun what-if scenario and a creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. And lastly, do be sure to subscribe to GamerJoob as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty everyone, well, let's get into the story of our new chapter with Corey the Camel. So before we get into our character concept, let's first take a look at the other themed pizzerias in the series. So our previous videos we've explored the Jungle Party Pizzeria, the Funtime Farm Pizzeria, the Water Wonderland Pizzeria, the Insect Kingdom Pizzeria, the Jolly Jurassic Pizzeria, the North Pole Pizzeria, and the Swamp Shack Pizzeria. Each of these establishments have had a number of creepy animatronics that were hellbent on terrorizing the player. The player would survive through the nights the best they could. All of these frightening animatronics had their own disturbing backstory and reasons for attacking the player. So now we arrive at our newest pizzeria location in the Fnaf character concept series. And this brand new pizzeria is the Desert Diner Pizzeria. This of course was a desert themed pizzeria, with a number of desert themed attractions and characters. In the long line of Freddy Fazbear establishments, out of all of them, the Desert Diner was their newest location. It opened its doors in 2017 and was located in the southern desert region of the country. The pizzeria proved to be quite popular amongst the community and the children who lived in town. Considering there wasn't much to do in town, the Desert Diner proved to be a great source of entertainment. And how could it not be? With all their attractions and fun activities, the pizzeria would be seeing happy guests enter for quite some time. But it wasn't always fun and happy times at the Desert Diner Pizzeria. Rumours have been circulating around the town and even on the internet that something is truly wrong with this establishment. There's been claims of mysterious injuries, rogue animatronics causing mayhem, and overall bizarre activity happening throughout. But of course, Fazbear Entertainment has denied any of these claims. A little while ago, there was some strange and bizarre footage that leaked onto a popular streaming website. Only a few thousand people saw these videos until they were taken down. Some claim them to be real, while others speculate that they were staged by some deranged fan of the pizzeria. Luckily for us, we have the recordings of these videos before they were taken down. But we'll look into one of those clips later in the video. For now, let's take a look at our first character at the Desert Diner Pizzeria. And this character is Corey the Camel. So, hence the name, Corey was designed after the desert dwelling animal, the camel. These humpbacked creatures are one of the most famous animals known to live in the desert. Corey was given a yellow colour scheme, with a tuft of brown fur atop his head. He also has a large hump on his back, but considering the character is always facing the audience, guests would rarely see it. So Corey's role up on stage was that of the main singer. He would sing all his jolly birthday songs up on stage next to all the other characters. Corey was considered to be the most popular character at the Desert Diner Pizzeria. This is evident due to the large sales and all of Corey's merch. The most popular merch items include Corey Camel shirts, Corey Camel drink bottles, and the ever popular Happy Hump Day coffee mug. So overall, the pizzeria deemed Corey the Camel to be quite the successful animatronic. They were a hit with all the kids and did their job entertaining all of them. But eventually, like all other Fazbear Entertainment characters, things would soon enough take a terrible turn for the worst. But before we get into that, let's first take a look at their other position at the pizzeria. So besides performing up on stage, Corey was also in charge of the sand room. This room was a large indoor sand pit where all the children would play. The sand inside the pit was a special sand that was designed not to make a mess and stick to the children's shoes and clothing. Inside the sand pit was also some fun activities. One of the more popular ones was the surprise cactus. Children would take turns pulling out one of the rubber spikes one at a time. Eventually, one of the spikes would set off the cactus as it sprung to life and surprised the children. Whilst all the fun activities were going on, Corey would stand watch and look out for all the guests. He was designed to keep an eye out and make sure none of the guests would succumb to any harm, especially in the deep areas of the sandpit. Only a few times has Corey ever had to pull out some children from this deep sand. He would always stay vigilant and identify if there were any hazards or dangers to any of the guests. So the sand room was one of the many attractions at the pizzeria. We won't share the details on all of them just yet. We'll explore them as we dive deeper into the Desert Diner chapter. But so far as we can see on the building overlay, we have the main stage, the main party and dining area, the sand room, the bathrooms, the kitchen, the repair room, and the security office. All the other rooms will be revealed on the map later. But speaking of the security office, let's meet our night guard character for this chapter. So our night guard character has been working at the pizzeria for around 6 months now. They seem pretty content with their job. They know all about the risks that come with a job like this. And they've also met each and every character and dealt with them at night as well. In fact, ever since our night guard character was little, they've always been infatuated with the Fazbear establishments. Every one of their birthdays has been celebrated at one of the pizzerias across the country. They even remember a couple of the older restaurants. So when there was a new opening at the Desert Diner Pizzeria, they of course leapt at the chance to work at their favourite chain of childhood restaurants. But with all their childhood wonderment and nostalgia, also came a strange and dark obsession as well. For as long as they could remember, they have also been interested in the dark history behind Freddy Fazbear Entertainment. They followed all the rumours and supposed incidents that have taken place at other pizzerias. And that's why they very much enjoyed working as the night guard. Each and every night was like a twisted game to them. Although the characters were trying to harm them, they thought it was quite thrilling nonetheless. And of course, one of those twisted animatronics that was trying to harm them was Corey. So let's get into the unfortunate incident that happened to poor Corey the Camel. So at one point in the Desert Diner's history, they had a little more guests than they would like. The pizzeria experienced an outbreak of insects and vermin. It got to the point where the restaurant had to shut down for a whole month. The whole place was fumigated and covered with a large makeshift tent to keep everything contained in the building. Of course, Fazbear Entertainment was too cheap to employ a real exterminator. So they instead sent over the chemicals and got the night guard to spray all over the place. Over the course of the day, the whole restaurant was filled with the poisonous chemicals. All the animatronics were put on charge in their respective areas. If a constant flow of power was supplied, then their inner workings would be fine. The restaurant was told the poison wouldn't affect the machines, but the poison wasn't the problem. The problem was in fact the moisture. And out of all the rooms, the sand room got sprayed the most. After the night guard was done for the day, they said goodbye and wouldn't see them all until a whole month later. The next day, all the moisture from the poison crept into Corey's inner workings. His body started to spark. Then it started to violently move and twitch. He fell on the floor as his body jolted and twitched all over the sand. And since he had a constant supply of power the whole time, he would continue to move in this manner for a whole month. A whole month of twitching and jolting on the abrasive sand would do a number on Corey's body. All of the material on his neck withered away, and most of the material on his arm slowly degraded as well. The violent jerking motion of his head forced his eye to be dislodged. When the staff eventually reopened the store, they were shocked and stunned at what they saw. They didn't know what they were going to do with the poor withered animatronic, but for the time being they would need to put Corey in out of order. It would be some time before they can get the new parts sent in. So they told all the children that Corey was out sick for the time being. This made the children quite upset, but they understood he would be back eventually. But when it came to Corey, there was no getting well soon for him. Each and every time they saw the night guard, they were deemed a hazard. Considering they were the one who sprayed all the poison, it would only make sense that Corey would have it out for them. They were the reason that their inner electronics malfunctioned. They were the reason they twitched on the sand for the entire month. It was because of the night guard they looked the way they did. Ever since then, he's had it out for them. In all of that time, they had changed. In that long month, a lot of strange things happened, including a strange video that was posted online. It seems that someone had snuck in and recorded footage of the restaurant whilst it was shut down. As we stated before, the video was taken down shortly after it was posted, but luckily we still have the recording. So before we continue any further, let's take a look at this bizarre recording that took place. Like we said, some people thought it was fake and others thought it was real. But regardless if it was real or fake, something strange was going on at the Desert Diner pizzeria, that's for sure. And as to who recorded this footage, no one knows. The night guard has sworn it wasn't them and can actually account for where they were the night it was recorded. But whoever filmed and leaked the footage, Fazbear Entertainment was sure to find them out. So when everyone returned to work after the month period, things pretty much went back to normal. The only thing that was abnormal was Corey's obsession with getting his revenge on the night guard. Tonight would be the night he would make his move. Whilst they were sitting in the security office, that's when Corey would get them. Although he could take his time and wait patiently for the perfect time to strike. For the start of the guard's night shift, he would just wait inside the sand room. And when they least suspect it, Corey would take his revenge. So now let's get into the gameplay segment of the video. As always, the gameplay loop is based on the classic Fnaf formula of observation and management. As per usual, the office is fitted with a left and right button activated door. And only one air vent on the right hand side. It's up to the night guard to be on high alert and keep the animatronic characters out of the office. But considering that our night guard has been on the job for quite some time now, they've got a few tricks up their sleeve. In their possession are a couple of homemade devices that they invented themselves. The first device is a motion tracker. The player can look at this device and get an early heads up if any of the characters are in the hallways. Considering this pizzeria didn't have any cameras in the halls, this proved to be very useful. The second was a homemade EMP. This is only a one-time use item that can only be used throughout all the nights, so the player needs to be very careful when they use it. It's for emergencies only. It can save the player if they find themselves in a tight spot. It has the power to temporarily shut down any animatronic that is at the doors or vents. Even if there's a character at every entry point, all three of them will temporarily shut down. And the last device they have is a Supercharged Flashlight. This familiar looking device is able to deliver a large flash of light that is able to repel specific enemy types that are too fast to close the doors on. But we'll explore those enemy types in a later video. So like we stated, Corey's starting position would always be in the sand room. He wouldn't start to move up until about 3 o'clock. Once he's made his move, the player would have to track his movements on the security camera. Once he's gone past the last camera, it's up to the motion tracker to track how far down the hallway he actually is. Corey will always enter from the left hand side. As soon as the player sees him appear, they would need to close the door immediately. So Corey's main tactic would be to appear when you're looking at the cameras or the motion tracker. Much like a familiar bunny, he can sneak inside when you're occupied with something else. And when you stop looking at the cameras, that's when he'll strike. But Corey is one of the more simplistic characters to deal with. The time he takes to enter the room in the first couple of nights is considerably slow. But he will tend to build up his speed as the nights go on. One of the telltale signs that Corey is at the door is when you can hear his disturbing moans and groans. At that point, the player needs to quickly stop what they're doing and shut the door. Hopefully they make it in time, but if not, they'll get greeted with a classic Fnaf jump scare. So I think Corey the Camel would be a great first addition to the Desert Diner pizzeria. Not only are camels iconic to the desert, but I feel like Corey would prove himself to be an iconic character at the pizzeria as well. Their frightening and disturbing appearance could definitely offer up some scares, and their gameplay style would definitely keep the player on their toes. As for all the other characters at the Desert Diner pizzeria, we can't wait to share them all with you, so stay tuned for all the other episodes to meet the whole Desert Gang. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we had for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to leave a comment down below what you thought of the Desert Diner pizzeria, Corey the Camel, and also what you'd like to see next in our FNAF series. Alrighty everyone, well until the next video, I'll catch you later, bye.